Hello my friends, thanks for stopping by. Hope you're all having a great day. Welcome to another Healthy Zone video. This is going to be a meatless dinner. So I thought what I would do is tell you everything you would need, because this is going to be cooked in one pan, and there's not too much preparing for it really outside of chopping an onion and some garlic. It's a really simple meal. So let me tell you what you will need for it. I got this recipe, I found this in a magazine years and years ago, probably about 10 years ago. And I've just tweaked it here and there and made it my own. Some things I've left out, like I think the greens for it before was Swiss chard or something, and I don't like chard. So I changed it to spinach, and you should do the same thing. Anything I'm using you don't like, you use something else. Just make sure that you're keeping it healthy. That's what's important about the Healthy Zone, that we're eating clean. Okay, so what you will need, and you will find this in the spaghetti aisle because this is a stabilized product, and this is whole wheat gnocchis. You could probably use fresh, not too sure about frozen. So if you like to make your own, go right ahead. You can use white. I prefer whole wheat. You will also need some spinach, a large tub of it, because you need 5 to 6 cups of spinach. I have half a cup of white wine here. You can use chicken broth or water. You'll need some pepper, fresh or whatever way you buy your pepper is fine with me. You'll need some olive oil. You will need some 2% mozzarella cheese. You will also need some Parmesan cheese. You will need a can of cannellini beans, which we are going to rinse. It's important you rinse your beans because there's so much sodium in them. Okay, so then we are going to use, this is the Wegman's brand of their petite diced tomatoes with garlic, olive oil, and seasoning. All you need to look for is a can of diced tomatoes with Italian seasoning. I have 5 cloves of garlic here because we love garlic, and I will chop my garlic up about 15 to 20 minutes before I'm going to use it because it brings out all the healthy things in it. You will also need a white onion. Okay, so that is all you need in one pan, a pretty big size pan. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set the camera up over the pan because I've not yet figured out how to record myself in a video while cooking at the stove. But what really matters here is the Healthy Zone recipe. So I'm going to hop on over to the stove and go step by step with you. And remember, you can exchange anything out that you don't like that I'm using. If you want to use white, you use white. If you prefer a different type of Italian type of bean, go ahead and use it. And if you like Swiss chard, kale, arugula, any green you like, go right ahead and use it, okay? Just allow for extra cooking time for kale because it takes longer to wilt than a spinach does. Okay, so let's get going on this recipe. I know what I wanted to mention before we go. You can prepare this meal in advance and then just set in the pan, store it in the refrigerator, and then just add a little bit more wine or water to it and let it just steam up and reheat everything. So if you're somebody who's really busy, you just gotta make it ahead and leave it in the refrigerator and come home and reheat it and you'll be good to go, as I like to say. Okay, so I'll meet you over at the pan. All right, my friends, here we are. We're at the pan. I put 1 tablespoon of olive oil into a hot pan, and then I put my gnocchis in, and I'm going to let these cook for about 6 minutes until they are just nicely golden brown on both sides. Depending on your stovetop, that may take a little bit longer or a little less. You want your heat to be at about medium-high. I did put a pinch of salt in the pan before I put the gnocchis in. I don't remember where I read it, but I read it a long time ago that you could help non-stick pans by putting just a little bit of salt and oil in first, and it will prevent everything from sticking. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cook these up for about 6 minutes until they brown, and then we'll come back with the next step. You want your gnocchi to plump up slightly. They're not going to look as they would if you had boiled them, but they do get brown, and a little bit plump. Not too plump, okay? Okay, so my gnocchi have been cooking for about 6 minutes, and they are golden brown on most sides. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to remove them from the pan and just set them aside for a little bit. Don't worry about what sticks on the pan because it's going to come up when you start adding everything else into it, so that's fine. If you use a non-stick pan, you won't have any problems with it sticking, but I like to use this pan. So I'm just going to scrape that up, put that on a dish to the side, and now I'm going to add my onions to the pan, and we're just going to let them soften a little. Notice I'm not really adding any salt and pepper because the beans have a lot of sodium in them, and the cheese will have a lot of sodium in it, and also the tomatoes will have some sodium. So I really don't need to flavor the onions. It would just be too salty a meal then. Of course you do as you see fit for your meal, but for me, this is it. Okay, so I'm just going to cook my onions here a little bit until they have softened, and then we will move on to the next step. Okay, so I have cooked my onions for about 3 minutes, and they're starting to soften. So now I'm going to add the garlic in, and remember I used about 5 cloves of garlic. We like a lot of garlic. I'm going to mix that together, and here is where I'm going to add my white wine, and that's a half a cup of white wine. Okay, so I'm just going to allow this to cook for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then we will be back. Okay, so my onions and my garlic have softened, and they cooked about 6 minutes. You can put the lid on and let it cook and soften, but keep an eye on it because you don't want to burn them. So you can see that they are all soft. So the next step I'm going to do here now is I'm going to add spinach, and you add quite a bit of spinach. So we're adding our spinach. Now spinach will wilt down to almost nothing. So you're putting in quite a bit of spinach to fill up the pan, and then just allow it to wilt down. That's about 6 cups of spinach. Okay, so we're gonna allow that to wilt down. It doesn't take a lot. You can take your spoon, help it along. Make sure your pan is big enough for everything. This pan actually is. I'm just working around a camera sitting next to me. I got a board over here with all my ingredients. I tell you, I haven't figured out how to do the videos with me cooking. Okay, so I'm just going to bring the onions up, wilt the spinach down, as I said. Okay, now, once it's wilted down pretty good, you can see it goes away to almost nothing. I'm going to put a good serving of pepper on this. It measures out to be about a teaspoon of pepper you're putting on. Again, no salt is added here, just pepper. And the garlic and onions will allow for a lot of flavor too. Okay, so we have wilted that down. Now we're going to pour in our tomatoes, our canned tomatoes. Okay, we're just going to stir that all around. Okay, get them all blended in well. I love the smell of this. Oh, I wish you could smell it right now. It's beautiful. It really is. Okay, so now I've rinsed my beans and they've drained. I'm going to pour the beans in. And we're going to allow that to cook for a few minutes. Just to heat through. And now you want to bring this to a simmer, which only takes a few seconds. I'm still on a medium heat. I have a gas stove, so it cooks differently than an electric would. Of course, make your adjustments. Okay. I like to just flip it, make sure that I'm getting everything heated through. But you can actually just leave it at this point and allow it to simmer. And then what we're going to do is add our cheese and our gnocchis back into the pan. You give this about, you can see it's simmering. Everything is pretty much heated through. Again, if you're making this earlier, you're gonna reheat it anyway. But this is what we have for now, okay? So now I am going to go ahead and I'm going to bring my gnocchis back over. And I'm going to put those into the mix. And I'm going to give them a quick stir, just to incorporate them. I'm going to turn I'm making a mess here. It's all right though. I'm going to turn my burner down to a low medium now. And what I'm going to do at this point is add my cheeses, okay? Now if you wanted to add a little more pepper, you can. I think I will. I'm just going to put some more pepper on the top layer. Okay. And now I'm going to take my mozzarella, my fresh mozzarella, not my fresh, my shredded mozzarella, and I am going to sprinkle it all over the top of this. And that I have a third of a cup of the mozzarella. No, I'm sorry, I have a half cup of mozzarella, and I have a third cup of the Parmesan, which I'm going to sprinkle over the top. And that is it, my friends. Then you turn it down to low, you simmer, and you are just going to cover it with a lid and allow those cheeses to melt. And the sauce is bubbly. That takes about 3 minutes, and then we just plate it up. You can serve this with a beautiful salad on the side. You know, if you want a garlic bread, I wouldn't serve bread with this because there is already enough carbohydrates in this. So I would serve it with a beautiful, perhaps Roma tomatoes with cucumber and just an olive oil dressing with a little bit of balsamic vinegar, salt and pepper. And that is what I would use. So I'm just going to let that simmer down for a few minutes and come back and show you what it looks like in the pan. And then I am going to wait for Louie and I will show it to you plated up. All right, we'll be back. Okay, my friends, there it is, the finished product. Now when we come back, I will just reheat it a little bit and then we'll serve it up for dinner, and I'll show you it plated up when we come back. This is, I must say, this is excellent. It tastes very good. I mean, maybe there are many Italians out there cringing, but I think if you taste it, you're going to say, ooh la la, this is very good. It just has the right amount of flavors. And as a child, well, not as a child, but as a young adult, one of my most favorite things to get at a restaurant was gnocchis. I love them. And I was so happy when I was able to find them in a whole wheat. They don't taste as beautiful as a fresh gnocchi would, but they are still very good. So to make it clean and healthy, now many people would think, oh, that cheese is not healthy, but it's really a small amount for the serving sizes you're going to get out of this pan. And you can freeze this and then put it in a little bowl, freeze it, and then all you have to do is unthaw it, microwave it, and you're good to go. There I am again with that good to go. All right, so I will be back later tonight when we are ready to eat this. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. We'll be back. All right, my friend, it is dinner time, so I am going to now, I've heated it up a little bit. Louie, he doesn't like his food real hot, so I don't have to worry about overheating it, and I actually like warm food. So I'm just going to slice into it. And for Louie, of course, I give him a bigger serving. And we are just going to put it in a bowl. Give him a little bit more. The beans, get that into our bowl. Okay, there we go. And now I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit more Parmesan cheese on it for him. Whoops, there we go. And you have a meatless dinner that is very filling, has a lot of protein because of the beans, tomatoes, and the spinach, and the garlic, and all adds beautiful flavor into this. So I hope you'll give this one a try too. I'm quite sure that your family will enjoy it. Even if you go with the white flour gnocchis, it'll still be fabulous. And remember, you can add sausage into this if you would like. You can add chicken. I would put it in when you're adding your meat. I would do it in the stage that you throw the gnocchis back in. That's when you would throw your cooked sausage or your cooked chicken or your cooked ground beef, whatever you prefer. All right, so that's it for the Healthy Zone tonight. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget, subscribe. We're anti-aging and eating healthy. Be happy, be healthy, be beautiful, and most of all, my friends, be lovable. I love you all. Bisous, my friend. Bisous.